Bucky,
Yeah.
how are you today?
Good.
Yeah, how you doing?
Oh, I'm fine.
We're gonna interview you now
Yes.
about Machal.
Yeah.
Remember that period in your life?
It is center of my life.
Center of your life.
Yeah.
Bucky,
I grew up in a Zionist youth organization, Habonim.
Habonim. And what year were you born?
What?
What year were you born?
1923.
In what city?
Chicago.
Chicago.
Yes.
Are you a White Sox fan or a Cubs?
No, I'm a Twins fan.
Okay. You grew up in Chicago on the north side, south side?
West Side.
West side. Was your family Zionist?
They sure were. My mother was a member of the Pioneer Women, and my father was just a Zionist.
Do you have any brothers or sisters?
No.
You're an only child,
Yes.
born in 1923.
23, yeah.
What month?
March
March what?
18,
March 18. So you just had a birthday.
96.
God bless.
Thank you.
How does it feel to be 96?
Old.
Does it?
Yeah.
Bucky, what's your earliest memory from Chicago?
Oh, it's kind of interesting. I grew up in a Jewish street where the neighborhood was, the immediate street was mostly Jewish immigrants.
From where? Russia, Poland,
Yeah, Eastern Europe.
Eastern Europe, okay.
And my first language was Yiddish. My father, Alva Sholem, was deserted from the Russian army and during just toward the end of World War II,
One.
because he thought that his fellow soldiers were more dangerous than the Germans to him.
So he was in the Russian army,
He was in the
deserted because he felt for
Yeah.
his life.
That's right. He anyway was deserted. Well, they used to go with their trousers in their boots.
What was your father's name?
Jacob
Jacob
Bacaner,
Bacaner. And your mother?
Minnie Gale,
Minnie?
Minnie, and her last name was Gale.
Gail. And where was she from?
Odessa.
Odessa. So you're first generation, born in America.
Yeah.
Did your parents meet in America?
Yes.
In Chicago?
Chicago.
Chicago. What was Chicago like when you were growing up? During the Great Depression?
Yeah. Well, it was. I liked it. My father had a good job, so we were relatively.
What did your father do?
He was an insurance salesman.
Not a bad job.
That paid well.
Yeah. What happened when the Depression hit?
It never hurt us.
Really?
No.
You guys were okay during the Depression?
Yes. Of course, he supported the whole family.
Oh, he did? What, his brothers and sisters?
Yeah, brother. No, he didn't really. He just supported my mother's side of the family. His brother and his sister did all right. His brother had a kosher delicatessen store. There was, you remember Ripley's Believe It or Not?
Yes.
Anyway, my uncle's name was Moses. And, their name in Russia was Bakinsky.
Bakinsky.
So my uncle shortened it to Bacon.
Bacon?
Bacon.
Like the pork bacon?
Yeah.
Okay. He shortened the name when he came to America.
Pardon me?
He shortened the name
Yeah.
when he came to America.
And my father took the name Boy Khan. So Boy Khan was a big Boy Conner. Somebody from Boy Khan. But then my father brought his mother home from Russia, and she lived with us. And since she didn't speak English, we used to only speak Yiddish in the house as a courtesy to her. So English was my first language.
English was your first language?
What?
English was your first language?
Yiddish was my first language. As a matter of fact,
His hearing aid fell out.
as a matter of fact,
Can I
It's okay, yeah. Oh, careful.
with that one plug
Yeah.
and stuff?
Hold on, we're just fixing your hearing aid.
huh?
Your hearing aid fell out.
Pardon me?
Your
Hold on.
hearing.
It's okay.
Push your hearing aid in.
Oh, isn't it in?
No. Turn it up. Can you hear it?
Yes.
That's a short one, your oatmeal. Short one, your oatmeal.
Okay?
Yeah, well,
So,
the street I lived in were mostly immigrant Jews from
Eastern Europe.
Eastern Europe.
What kind of youth movements did you have in the neighborhood? Habonim?
How it wasn't in my neighborhood, it was in another
In
neighborhood.
another neighborhood, but you went to Habonim, is that correct?
Yeah, my mother took me there.
Habonim, are they socialists?
Yes. They're socialist Zionists.
Socialist Zionists.
Yeah.
What do you do in these meetings with Habonim?
Always talks about Zionism and living in Palestine. And we're wonderful people, and I can't imagine, they were very dear friends. And unfortunately, most of them are gone.
Yes.
That's the one trouble with living to 96.
Did you ever have to deal with any anti-Semitism?
Oh boy.
Tell me about it.
In my school, there were a couple of brothers who used to, the school was kind of mixed,
Public school.
Jews and Gentiles,
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you remember the name of the school that you went to?
Yes. Delano
Delano
Elementary School,
Elementary School.
yeah.
So there were two brothers in your school.
They were anti-Semitic bullies. They used to beat up the Jewish kids. But they never bothered me because I was big and I was a good athlete.
And what about out of school? Was there any anti-Semitism outside of school?
No, I lived on an all-Jewish street.
On an all-Jewish street. Yeah.
Jewish neighborhood. Well, there was never any anti-Semitism outside, except in school.
In school.
And this is a funny story. I once asked one of the brothers why they were bullying the Jew and beating up the Jewish kids. And he said, because the Jews killed Christ. So I said, first of all, the Romans killed Christ. And secondly, that was 5,000 years ago. So he says, yes, but I just found out about it.
Were they Irish?
Yeah, I think so. They were Irish.
You know, it's interesting because the Irish, who are Catholic, were very prejudiced against the Jews in America.
I know.
But the Italians, who were also Catholic, weren't.
No. Never had trouble with Italians.
Never had trouble with Italians.
They never bothered me because I was big
Because you were a big guy.
and I was a good athlete.
Yeah, what sports did you play?
Basketball,
Basketball?
yes.
No baseball?
I'm sure baseball. But I excelled in basketball.
You excelled in basketball.
Yeah.
You were a point guard?
Huh?
You were a point guard,
No, I was a shooting guard.
a shooting guard. Tell me, Bucky,
I actually invented the jump shot.
excuse me?
I actually invented the one-handed jump shot.
Really?
Yes. With my Jewish brain, I analyzed, they used to teach us to shoot. You bend your knees, you get the ball, and then you shoot. And I had a very analytical mind. So one day I analyzed the shot, and I said that you start out with what are the potential sources of disturbing the shot. I said you do two things. You jump and then you shoot with two hands. No, you bend your knees and you shoot with two hands. So I figured out that three sources of error, and that it would be best not to bend your knees, but to jump as high as you can, and then at the peak of your jump, you shoot it with one hand. So
And
that takes out 75% of the potential error.
Was it successful? I've never heard of the one-hand jump shot.
Oh, so it's the only shot, it's the main shot used in professional basketball. Everybody's doing it. I wish I could have gotten a patent.
Do you like to watch basketball on television today?
Yes.
Do you like to, what's your team?
Well, we got a home team here,
I know, I forget what they're called. Minnesota
Timberwolves.
Timberwolves.
I'm a Pistons fan. I'm a Detroit Pistons fan. It's okay, we can still sit and talk, right?
Yes. If you watch them on television, you'll see that everybody jumps before they shoot.
Yes.
Have you noticed that?
Bucky, I want to talk to you about something.
Yes.
In 1933, you're 10 years old,
Yes.
right? In Europe, Hitler comes to power.
Yeah. We worried about
But in
it.
Chicago, you got a lot of Germans who are supporting Adolf Hitler.
The Germans weren't as bad as the Poles.
I understand. That's another thing. But I want to know about Chicago. You had the Germanic Center downtown.
We didn't have many Germans in my neighborhood.
I understand. In your neighborhood, not. But in Chicago, in general.
My problem was these two Irish guys.
Did you ever get back at them?
Boy, did I get back. They never bothered me.
But what'd you do to them?
But one day I'm at the urinal.
In school?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking
How
a
old
pee.
are you? How old are you, roughly?
Roughly, I'm 96.
How old were you at, no, not now, when you were dealing with these kids at school?
Oh, I was between the ages of about, I don't know, 8 and 12.
Okay. Elementary school.
Yes.
Okay, so you're at the urinal.
And one of the guys comes in and he hits me from behind. He just cold cocks me. And so he knocked me down. And I'm sitting on the floor and I'm very concerned. I wasn't hurt, but I was very insulted.
Absolutely.
And so, but I'd never been in a fist fight before.
What'd you do?
Well, I used to play basketball at a place in Chicago called the JPI, the Jewish People's Institute. And one day there was a sign on the bulletin board, boxing lessons with Benny Leonard. So I signed up, and then he put me into the Golden Gloves boxing tournament, which was a boxing tournament for youngsters.
Yeah.
And I won the championship in my weight class. So that gave me a sense of great courage and power. And these brothers, if they were going to beat somebody up, they weren't only physical bullies, they were emotional bullies. They'd catch some kid's eye and go like that, give him the arm, which means...
They were intimidating. Intimidation.
Which means he's going to beat him up after school. And then one day, I gave him the arm, and the whole buzz went through the cat. Bacaner gave Anderson the arm. So everybody, the buzz in the class, Bacaner gave Anderson the arm, which was a big reversal. So that meant we all went into the alley next near the school and had a fight. Well, this time, instead of being afraid, I had the confidence of a Golden Gloves boxing champ. And Benny Leonard said to me, you know, Benny Leonard was a lightweight boxing champion of the world. In those days, professional boxing was a Jewish business. Benny Leonard was a lightweight champ. Barney Ross was the middleweight champ. And
what did Benny Leonard say to you?
he said, you know, you're pretty good. You could be a pro. I told him, Benny, that's not my agenda.
What's your agenda?
To go to the Andersons.
So you're in the alley with the Anderson.
And with the pent-up range of a year and the skill of a Golden Gloves boxing champion, I went at him. In about 30 seconds, he's laying on his back, and I'm sitting on his chest, going like that. I broke his nose, I broke his jaw, and the kid said, stop it. He's unconscious, you're going to kill him. I said, I intend to kill him. But they pulled me off, and he never came back to school.
Really?
Yeah.
How did you feel?
Wonderful. I felt wonderful. I'm a natural fighter.
I'm sure you got a lot of dates in school after that.
Huh?
I'm sure you got a lot of dates in school after that.
I got a lot of respect.
I'm sure.
But anyway, that respect came with me to high school. And we had one teacher, a German teacher, who was trying to, and I was taking German because in those days I intended to be a doctor. And, you know, Germany was a major player in medicine. And so I took German, and I had this German teacher, and he wanted us to learn to sing Deutschland über alles. So I put out the word that nobody was to sing it, that anybody who sang it was going to have to deal with me. And you know, when everybody knows you have a reputation. So nobody would sing it. The teacher blamed me, so he flunked me.
He flunked you?
Yeah. So I beat up the teacher.
Really? Where? Where'd you beat
In Marshall High School.
Where, in the school or outside of the school? Where'd you beat up the teacher?
In the schoolroom, where I've caught him. And anyway, I got expelled from the school.
Well, I'm not surprised.
I had to go to another school.
I'm sure. How old are you at this time? 15, 16?
No, but 12 or 13.
12 or 13?
Yeah.
Why do you do this?
Because I was a Zionist. And Jews were very important to me. And then I was very excited that the Jews were going to stand up and fight somewhere. That was very important to me.
You know, at that time that we're talking
At
about
that
right
time,
now,
the Jews were passive.
yes. But there's actually a gentleman that I want to mention
Yeah,
who at this time, in the 30s, in the mid-30s,
yeah.
is trying very hard, and I'm sure you've heard of him, and if you have, I'd like to hear what you thought about him. Hank Greenberg.
Who?
Hank Greenberg,
He was a ball player.
Jewish ball player.
Yeah, on the Detroit Tigers.
And he went through a hell load of anti-Semitism in the major leagues.
I can
At
imagine.
the same time that we're talking about
Joe
the 30s.
Robinson was the color guy.
Jackie Robinson.
Jackie Robinson.
That's later. That's much later. I'm talking about
Yeah.
33, 34, 35,
right.
36. Are you guys aware of Hank Greenberg?
Oh, sure. Hell, we were all proud of him.
That's what I wanted to ask.
Yeah, it was terrific. I remember every home run he hit was a personal joy. It was a very secularized country at the time.
So you have to go find a new high school now.
Yeah, so I went to a new high school. And there I changed sports to track.
To track.
I became a pole vaulter.
Really?
Yeah. I think I was the first high school pole vaulter to vault 15 feet.
Wow. And Jewish, too.
And Jewish. But anyway.
And this whole time that you're in high school,
Yeah.
are you still going to Habonim?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I was. That was my youth was spent in Habonim. I didn't have any siblings. I had a cook.
So this was so Habonim wasn't just a Zionistic movement for you. it was also
My Malou.
you didn't have brothers or sisters, so it was
My brothers and sisters, that's what I was
Yeah.
doing. And the leader in he was actually a Jew from Palestine. Name was Yaakov Frank. And he was a fabulous guy. And he and I became very close friends. And he was a role model for me.
Yaakov Frank,
Yaakov Frank.
and he was the shaliach, or he was the madrich at Habonim in Chicago
No, he was just the head of my group.
of your group. He was your madrich.
Madrich, yeah.
Yeah. A madrich is like a group leader.
Yeah.
Yeah. You liked him? You admired him?
I loved him.
What did he teach you? How did he
He taught
influence
me.
you?
He taught me Judaism, and he taught me courage in class. He was a fearless guy, and he was a Haganah commander, and actually was a spy in Iraq. Well, it was here, and the war broke out. He couldn't get back to Israel, to Palestine, so he joined the American Army.
Second
Boy.
World War?
Yes, he wanted to fight the Germans. So naturally, they put him in the 7th Division and sent him to Attu to fight the Japanese. Oh,
What does a Palestinian Jew have against the Japanese?
he joined the Army, and the Army decided where he was going to go.
Of course.
But he was,
That's ironic. I joined the Army to fight in the Second World War, to fight the Germans, and they send you to the Pacific.
to fight the Japanese. It was ironic.
Tell me about Yaakov Frank. Was he?
He was the son of apparently the greatest Talmud scholar of the last 100 years. He was the son of Tzvi Pesach Frank.
I know that name.
You do?
Yes.
Yeah, well, he was a very famous Torah scholar
And this was his
in
son.
Jerusalem.
In Jerusalem.
Yes.
Pesach is a very famous name in Jerusalem. It's Jews who came from Spain, Sephardic Jews, who were in Jerusalem for hundreds of years. After the Spanish Inquisition, they didn't run away to North Africa or to Europe. They actually came back to Jerusalem right after the Spanish Inquisition, and they were living in Jerusalem until the founding of the state.
Well, there was
Was he a little bit dark?
once we were in Israel.
Well, we'll get to that in a second. Now, when do you graduate high school?
Oh,
Do you graduate high school?
I graduated Austin High School.
Austin High School?
Yes.
What year? I'll do the math. Wait a minute.
I don't remember.
Wait a sec. 33, 42, 41.
I guess
Are
so.
you in high school when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor?
Yes.
You're in high school.
No, I was in college.
You were in college. Do you remember that day?
Yes.
Where were you?
I was sitting at my desk studying for an exam I had a hard time preparing for.
Yeah.
I was not good at math. I was not good at math.
This was an examination in math.
Huh?
You were preparing for a math examination?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I dreaded taking. And I signed up to go to a Marine officers training school. The war had broken out.
Yeah.
And then I had a dear friend who we were like brothers. He was an only child and I was an only child. And we actually swore a mother pat. We cut our thumbs and mixed the blood. We became blood brothers.
What was his name?
Edwin R. Marcus. And he went through the Navy. He went to Annapolis.
Annapolis, uh-huh.
He went to the Naval Academy.
Yeah.
And he wanted me to come to the Naval Academy. But you had to get an appointment from your congressman or senator. So I tried to, so he wanted me to come. And I thought that'd be a good idea. So I tried to get an appointment to the Naval Academy. But my congressman didn't have an appointment to the Naval Academy. He'd already given them all out. But he didn't. He gave me an appointment to Kings Point, which was the Merchant Marine Academy.
Merchant Marine Academy.
Yes.
Where is that located in the United States?
Yes.
Where? Where do they send you?
Just a second.
Okay.
Kings
Come back.
Point. Remember?
Kings Point, New York.
New York. Upstate?
Kings Point, no. On Long Island.
On Long Island.
Yeah. So I became a merchant marine engineer. Then I had a very interesting experience. I was on a cargo ship in Antwerp, Belgium.
Antwerp, Belgium, okay.
I was walking down the street and I see a British officer with a Star of David on his arm.
But this is after the war.
This is after the
David.
war, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
This is after the war. That's fine though. So you're there and you see
So I stopped and I said, "Why are you wearing
a Star of David.
Star of David when you're a British officer?" He said, "I'm a member of the Jewish Brigade." And so I told him that I was a Zionist, and he said, "Would I like to come back to the brigade headquarters and meet the other officers?" And I was, a lieutenant commander on that ship. I was an engineering officer. So I went back and then the senior officer explained, he said, "We're British soldiers by day, but by night we're Machau. We support Palestine." And so I said, perhaps, they said, the leader said, "Perhaps you can help us." And I said, "What do you need?" He said, "We need food and we need compasses." Well, I was the first engineer on the ship, so I had the keys to everything. So I said, we had a lot of K rations. So I said, "Come tomorrow to the ship and I'll get you some food. And I'll see what I can do about the compasses." That night, I thought about the compasses, and each lifeboat had a freestanding compass. There were 4 lifeboats. So that night, I went down, since the war was over, there was no danger that these ships
combat's done.
Yes. So I thought that I'll borrow the compasses and then replace them when we get back to the States, which I did.
How many compasses did you give them?
4.
And K rations?
We had 4, and I gave them all the K rations we had because the war was over. Nobody was in 8 K rations. They didn't have to.
What was your feeling when you saw these guys from the Jewish Brigade in Belgium?
Well, I was very thrilled. So he invited me back to meet the other officers in the brigade.
Yep.
And so I was thrilled to meet them and to learn about the brigade. I hadn't heard of the brigade. Because the British had been fighting against any organized Jewish military force. The British didn't want to hear about Jews in Palestine. They were in bed with the Arabs. But anyway, then,
Yeah.
so they sent a Jeep over the next day and I gave them the stuff, the 3 compasses, which I did replace when we got back.
Absolutely.
And
Do you
But
just
the next day, he went back. Dad, what did they want when you went back the next time?
oh, then they came to see me the next day. He said, we got one more request. It was after the invasion of Europe.
the war's over now?
No, it's not over. After the landings, the war still went on for
Another year.
close, yeah,
Yeah. So it's between. So, but Antwerp is already liberated.
yes.
Okay, I gotcha. So what are they? What's their? They come to see you the next day.
They wanted to steal an LST,
What's an LST?
landing ship tank. It's an invasion boat. There were a bunch of invasion boats tied up in.
Are these like the boats that came up on Normandy and then they
They
opened
came up on the beach.
and then they opened up and all the soldiers?
That's
So
right.
it's like a personnel carrier
Exactly. Only
But,
for tanks.
for tanks. There's a tank in there too.
LST, yeah, landing ship tanks.
So what do you say to them? You got a few spare LSTs or what's
I
up?
said, I can't help you there. The landing ships are all diesel, and my only training is with steam, and I don't know anything about diesel. I said, I can't help you with that.
But remember what you thought, Dad. That it
What?
was such a harebrained scheme, remember, Dad?
What?
Remember you thought it was such a harebrained scheme, but then you found out that everything they did was that kind of madness, right?
Yes. Oh. So, when I got back from that trip, there was a letter waiting for me,
In the United States?
yeah,
Uh-huh.
from one of my secondary leaders in my homonym group. His name was Ari Lashner, and he'd been a radio operator in the Merchant Marine, and he'd been killed by a sniper.
He was killed.
Yeah,
So who was the letter from?
him.
That was
He said-
later he was killed.
It said, don't sign on any other ship until you meet me. And then he gave me a place with a number. So I went to meet him. Well, he was already dead, and there was somebody else in the office. And it was an office for recruiting sailors.
Recruiting sailors for what?
For the Aliyah Bet.
So this is after the war.
This is after the war.
You get an honorable discharge?
Yes.
You get the GI Bill?
They thought that merchant seaman made more money than the regular soldiers, so the American Legion was against it. But then later, a few years ago, they promised us the same
Conditions.
same gratuities that anybody in the military service got. But they didn't do it until later.
Where, after the war, do you go back to Chicago?
No, I was a professional sailor. I went to the Merchant Marine Academy,
Where's the Merchant Marine Academy?
Kings Point, New York.
Okay. And after the war, after you get,
Well, there was a lot of, we had to bring stuff back. So I was on a ship to bring stuff back in Antwerp. And one of the things they worry about, it was an ammunition, we bring back unused bombs and artillery shells. So one of the things you worry about is a fire on a ship. We had a fire on our ship, and the fireboats that were supposed to come and put it out steamed out of port. Turned out it wasn't a serious fire. It was just somebody left a rope on top of the main smokestack from the fire room had a canopy over it. And somebody left a rope on the canopy, and the rope caught fire. The ship itself wasn't on fire.
when is the first time that you hear?
What?
When do you hear for the first time about Aliyah Bet?
I told you that letter
From that letter
Yeah,
that your friend sent you.
yeah.
So how do you get involved with Aliyah Bet?
Through him.
Where do you go?
Pardon me?
Where do you go to physically?
There was some office, I don't remember
On
where.
14th Street?
In New York.
On 14th Street?
I just don't remember.
Okay. So you go to this office. We're talking about what, 1946, 47,
Probably, I don't know, 45,
45?
46. I'm not sure. The
Okay.
war was just over.
Okay.
And then the ship, the Jewish agency had brought 2 Canadian corvettes, which were Canadian anti-submarine vessels. And they were in City Island in New York. They'd been laid up since the end of the war. Well, that ship that's laid up, you have to check all the machinery because a lot of it didn't work. It had to be overhauled. So I was in charge of the overhaul and training crew, which we had to recruit. So we recruited, one of the places we recruited was there were 2 Shomer, Hatzair, and Habonim each had a training farm
Outside of the city.
in New Jersey.
In New Jersey. Uh-huh.
One was in Cream Ridge and one was, I don't remember.
You're at the one at Habonim.
No, he's doing the refitting of the ships,
You're
but he
doing-
needs
okay.
crew.
Okay.
Meanwhile, we were just training and repairing the ship.
On City Island.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, I recruited Yakov Frank and a guy named Hyman Shechman, who had been in the Air Force, the U.S. He was a B-52 bomber pilot.
So you're in New York getting the ship together. Does the ship have
Right, yeah,
Does the
the-
ship have a name? What's her name?
Well, when I was on it, it was the Haganah.
Haganah.
Well, they renamed them. One was the Haganah, and one was the Wedgwood,
Westwood.
Josiah Wedgwood.
Wedge wood.
Josiah Wedgwood.
Josiah, okay. How long does it take you to prepare the ship?
Oh, months and months. We did it all summer.
It's in pretty bad condition.
Well, nothing works.
How many guys are you working on the ship? How many people? 10, 20, 30?
No. At first, there was just this three of us.
Uh-huh.
Yakov Frank, Hyman Shechman. Hyman Shechman was actually he'd been an Army bomber pilot, and he became the deputy commander of the Israel Air Force.
What's his name?
Hyman Shechman. I think he renamed himself Shamir.
Shamir, yeah, could be. So in your mind, you're on your way to Palestine.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes.
Part of Aliyah Bet.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to tell me more about pre-Palestine, before you left? You're working on the ship.
Yeah.
There's a lot of FBI agents going around. looking
Yeah,
for
that's
people.
what they were looking.
Yeah.
So it was very secret.
They were looking for people like you to bust.
Yes.
Any incidents?
No. But do you know about Leon Frankel?
Yes.
Unfortunately, he passed away.
Correct.
But you know, there's a movie about him.
Yes. Not about him, but he's in the movie. Yes, I know.
Anyway,
know.
he was a very, very decorated Navy pilot.
I know.
He's a fantastic guy, one of my dearest friends.
Did you know each other in Palestine, or only you
Here.
met later here?
No, we met here at a gathering at a JCC. You know, the Jewish community celebrates Yom Ha'atzmaut.
Sure.
So we met there, and in 30 minutes, we became lifelong friends.
But in Palestine, you didn't meet.
No.
Well, I want to get. Do you remember when you sail out of the New York harbor?
Dad, you should tell him what happened when they switched your ships.
Oh, I'd completely overhauled the Haganah. And then they sent somebody from Israel to control the two ships. So I repaired the Haganah, and I knew it ran well, because we'd run it. But the last minute, they put me on the Wedgwood.
That gave you a lot of trouble, right, Dad?
Yes. Well, I repaired the Haganah, but the Wedgwood had a lousy repair.
So you had more work to do.
No.
And now with more work to do, I told this guy they sent out from Israel, oh, here's a good story.
Uh-huh.
They send somebody who should know about ships. Well, the Israelis call ships sheep. So they sent a sheep herder out, and he didn't know his ass from his elbow.
Or as we say, his ass from third base. So
That's
what happened
another-
with this guy? You had to put him in his place?
No, no. They just removed me from the Haganah to the Wedgwood, which I told them, the Wedgwood isn't ready to cross the ocean.
Sure.
I told him it's not ready.
Yeah.
He said the two ships have to go together, and he insisted. I said, we'll never make it across the ocean.
And?
And I was right. We broke down near the Azores.
Near the Azores.
And it
Near
had a
Portugal.
gap.
Portugal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, the Azores, yeah, I suppose they're,
What were the first things? The first thing, it happened about 3 different things happened to that ship, right?
Which ship
What?
did you sail on? The
He was on the Wedgwood in the
on
end.
the Wedgwood.
He was on the one he didn't refit.
Right.
So it was in very bad condition.
It was in very
Dad,
bad-
tell him all the things that happened on your trip. It was like wild.
What happened on your trip?
What happened?
What didn't
to the
happen on your
Wedgwood?
trip?
it was a mess. We broke down outside the Azores. The evaporators went out. You know, we can make fresh water on the ship. But somehow, the inexperienced crew let salt water get in through the, the evaporators take salt water and turn them into fresh water. But they put salted water into the boilers. In the boiler, the salt evaporates on the boiler tubes, and they become subject to cracking. So this is what happened. So we had to put in the Azores, and we had to retube the boilers.
Was that before or after the storm?
That was after the storm.
Where'd you have a storm?
Oh my God.
In the Atlantic?
Yes. Terrible storm.
Isn't that when it shut down? The boiler shut down? Something shut down and you couldn't.
Yeah, it was an interesting experience. The Azores is a beautiful island. And we actually found a Jew there,
Yeah?
and he joined the ship.
Really?
Yes.
Hold on. So you found a Jew in the Azores Islands off of the coast of Portugal who joined your ship.
He joined the ship.
You remember his name?
Not as crew, no. Not as crew, but simply a passenger.
Yeah. What do you have on the ship? What's your cargo? Or are you waiting to get to France?
Just people.
Just people.
Just people.
No
Well,
weapons?
we didn't have anything on the ship because we didn't
Where-
pick up the people.
Where's your first stop after New York? You guys are going directly to
New York,
Palestine?
then we went, and because we broke down, we
The
went to
Azores?
the Azores.
And then after that?
Then we went to Italy, Savona, Italy.
Okay. And what happens there? Like, what's waiting for you there?
Well, there, they mobilized people. Europe was a place where people were drifting around without connect. Jews were drifting along without any direction.
Yes. These are refugees from the Holocaust.
Yeah. They had no homes to go back to, had no families to go back to.
Sure.
It was a balagan.
Is this the first time you encounter survivors from the Holocaust?
Yes.
What's your impression?
because they'd been very unfortunate. Because the Jews didn't know how to fight. You know, if every German that had a Jew and had a gun and knew how to use it, they couldn't have been a Holocaust.
What's your impression when you see these people? Skinny, malnutrition,
Yeah.
frightened, scared.
Yeah, they were. Well, we tried to put it right on the way to Palestine because they were all commandeered to go into the army. You know, the men.
Do we have a date roughly around when this is? 47? 40? So you, on this boat, you guys are taking on refugees on the boat.
Yeah.
Roughly how many? Do you know? You remember?
Yes. I think there were 4,600.
4,600.
100.
Wow.
Wasn't that in 2 trips?
4,600? That's a lot.
Yes.
Did you do 2 trips?
In wartime, they carried a crew of about 170. So you can imagine how overloaded.
What other cargo do you guys put on the ship?
Nothing.
Just people.
People.
Just refugees. No weapons.
No weapons.
Okay. And then you sail from Italy to where?
From Italy to Palestine.
To Haifa?
I don't remember.
Okay, that's fine.
Oh, near Haifa.
Near Haifa. Maybe Kfar Vitkin?
Hmm?
Kfar Vitkin,
I just don't-
Athlete.
I think we went near Athlete.
Athlete, yeah. Now tell me,
Oh,
the first time you see Palestine, visually you see Palestine.
we're very
Do you
excited.
remember that?
Yes. We're very exciting. Well, I have an interesting story to tell you
Please.
about we had a reunion, a 40th year reunion of the Aliyah Bet Machal. And news of it was published in the Israeli newspapers. They could come to a soccer stadium where we would host any people we brought over. They could meet the crew again. A lot of people came.
This was 1988? Probably.
Yeah, 88.
Tell
40.
me, Bucky,
Yeah,
when you get to Haifa,
yeah.
what do you do? Where are you sent?
We didn't do anything. It was somewhere near Haifa we got off the
Okay,
ship.
and what happened?
Well, different things happened.
I'm sure.
I was taken to a prison.
Okay.
I don't remember. Athlete?
Athlete. Wait, the British took you?
Yes,
Okay, so you guys your boat was intercepted
yes,
by the British.
yes.
They get on board, they drag the boat into Athlete.
No.
There's a prison.
We had taken it close to the Israel shore.
Right.
Then the British Navy came and commandeered the ship.
And they take you to Athlete.
Yes,
There's a British prison there.
yes. Anyway,
What happens in prison?
Oh, they wanted to recover the officers of the ship, and so I think it was someplace near the wire fence that they were told to be. And they would be broken out by the Haganah. But I didn't get word, so I was not broken out.
How long did you spend?
Oh, I don't remember. I think about 6 weeks. Well, I got a great story to tell you about the 40th year reunion. We went back, and I was sort of reluctant to go. I told my wife, I won't know anybody. And so when I got there, the first thing a guy comes up to me and says, remember the storm. On the way over, there was a terrible storm. And the steering engine of the ship broke down, and it was so stormy, I had to sit there and fix it. You know, the steering engine is at the back of the ship. You're the rudder. So we were bouncing around. So I was trying to fix the steering engine, and I had to be tied down to the floor plates.
That's how bad it was.
Huh?
That's how bad the storm was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the tools, you couldn't just put them down. You had to give them to somebody to hold. And we would go hand it back and forth.
Bucky,
Can
can I see that?
Well, wait a minute.
Okay.
I was telling you about
The reunion.
at the 40th year reunion, a woman comes up to me with two little girls, about 3 and 5. And she says, I remember you. And then she tells her girls, this man saved my life. And I had a sudden realization that we didn't just save the people we took, we saved all the generations that they would.
Was this woman a Holocaust survivor that you brought
Yes.
back to?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. And I don't remember correctly, but she might have met her husband on the ship. I remember that it was, I think, I won't give you this because I'm not sure about it. I thought there was a wedding, and there was a rabbi who married them. I don't remember that clearly, but I remember a celebration with dancing, and I thought it was a chuppah.
On the boat.
Anyway,
Bucky, I want to ask you.
anyway, this is a citation I got from Israel. Read that aloud.
Very nice.
You see who signed it?
Yeah, Ezra Weitzman.
Ezra Weizman.
Bucky,
Yeah,
I want to talk to you about when you got to Palestine.
yeah.
You were in a prison camp for 6 weeks.
Yeah, something like
British
that.
put you in a detention camp?
Yes.
Were they interrogating you?
No.
No.
Well, I wouldn't talk to
Did
them.
they know that you were an American?
Sure.
When you get released from this detention camp, where do you go?
I think I went to Haifa.
To Haifa.
How did you get released? Do you remember?
I don't know, they just released me
The
to
British.
somebody.
Did you break out?
No.
You went to Haifa?
I think so.
How, did you take a boat back from Israel? I think you did.
Yes.
Didn't you ship out on a boat that you were working on again or
Yeah.
something?
There were boats. Picking up cargo in Haifa, and one of them was short an engineer, so they hired me to take.
This was a boat that was going to go from Haifa back to Europe?
No, to America.
To America.
Yeah. It was an American ship.
So in the end, you kind of saved yourself. Nobody actually got you back to America.
That's right.
Nobody got him back?
The Haganah, the people who organized getting him here, didn't get him back, right? Because he had to go on a ship. He shipped out as an engineer.
Well, you know, this guy shinned a sheep herder in the operation. He was utterly incompetent.
Yeah. This is the guy you met in New York?
No.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I met him once in New York.
Oh, you met him again?
So when I'm going to ask you, when your father
Yeah.
got out of the detention camp and he went to Haifa,
This is not a part of the story I've ever heard.
okay,
I don't think he remembers it so well.
Okay.
I've never heard him talk about
Wait a minute, I don't remember. I had my friend Yaakov Frank.
yeah.
I think maybe I met up with him and he collected me.
How much time overall did you spend in Palestine? Do you remember? Was it a month? Was it a half?
About a month.
About a month.
Was it miserable in the prison camp? How was the athlete?
Well, it was no picnic.
Were they physical with you?
No.
Did they interrogate you?
Yeah, but I never told him anything.
Were they British gentlemen to you?
Yeah.
Because you were an American?
Just for the record, the name of the ship that your father came from New York,
Wedgwood.
Wedgwood.
He refitted the Haganah, but he came from
Right,
Wedgwood.
and they crossed over together.
That's right.
Yeah.
They insisted that they be together. That's why they took. This is. I don't know if you wanted this. But this is. He wrote this, so it's his recall of that. A lot of that from maybe 20, 50, 30 years ago.
Maybe they collected my memories when they were still in full force.
A lot of people did. There's a lot of articles and stuff. I kind of put a few together for you if you want them.
Okay, perfect. That'd be great. I'll take it back with me.
Yeah, put together an envelope. We have a Xerox of the ship's manifest too, but I forgot to bring it with me today.
Okay.
I didn't want to send it.
I made a copy of the citation to me signed by Azer.
By Azer?
You can have that.
Did you know Azer?
Yes, I did. He was very friendly to me. Well, he and Leon Frankel were very close. And when I was in Israel, he arranged for me to meet Azer, and we became friends right away.
Yeah. I want to ask you, the time that you,
Did you know that Azer launched the Six-Day War?
he was a part of it, yes.
No, he actually launched it.
He launched it?
Yes. Moshe Dayan went into a kind of a fugue and wasn't really thinking clearly. And Azer, who really mapped out the attack of how they were going to catch the
Egyptian Air Force.
the Arabs on the ground,
Yeah.
just sent them.
Bucky,
Yeah.
I want to talk about you.
Well,
Not Azer. I want to talk about you. And I want to try and understand what you did in Palestine after you got out of the detention camp. You said that you went to Haifa.
I went to Haifa to get a ship to go home.
Did you have any problems when you went back to the States?
No.
They didn't say to you,
No, they gave Leon Frankel a lot of problems,
yeah, I know they gave Leon Frankel a lot of problems.
but not me.
Not you. You sailed through, no problem.
No.
I wonder how you managed to stay under the wire, Dad. Do you know?
Yeah, because
Didn't they come, the FBI, to check you out?
Didn't the FBI come and check you out?
I don't remember.
I seem to remember that when somebody came to you, and since you've been in a foreign place, they wanted to find out what was going on.
You didn't leave with a passport, did you?
Somebody from
No,
the State Department.
I had, when we were sworn into the Haganawi, that was done in Panama. We each got, the crew got Panamanian
Documents.
license.
Right.
paper.
Your ship had a Panamanian flag.
Yes.
You were sworn into the Haganah in New York?
I thought in Panama, but I don't remember.
So you guys went down to Panama? To the country?
Yes.
While you went from New York to Panama, they flew you down to Panama?
I think so. I don't remember.
Okay.
Did
Okay.
you tell them that you said you had to get people to go on board the ship with you, and that they were from the Habanim, and that they weren't used to military situations, and they all got seasick?
I was in the storm, remember, Dad?
Yeah. One of our crew, the ship was in such a bad storm. And everybody, they were all seasick, because most of them weren't sailors. I remember going down with I had a 45 automatic that had been given to me by my buddy Eddie Marcus,
Uh-huh.
because he picks up a pilot. He was a submarine officer, submarine captain, and he picked up a downed pilot. And you know, a downed pilot
Gave him his gun.
gave him his gun as a present.
Yeah.
And he gave it to me when I was going to Israel. And then I gave it to Yaakov Frank.
Well-traveled gun.
What's that?
It was a well-traveled gun.
A well-traveled gun, huh?
Gucci gun.
Are you gonna ask him about the time that he was on the LL plane that was in Switzerland that the Arabs were shooting at?
Oh. You know, I was on an LL plane that was attacked by terrorists on the ground in Geneva.
This is when in,
No, was it Geneva or Zurich?
doesn't matter, Switzerland.
In Switzerland. And two of the pilots were wounded by gunfire. So I went to give them medical help.
Yeah.
And I forgot him, actually got one of them to the hospital alive. But the Swiss fucked him up. You know, what do the Swiss know about gunshots?
Bucky, is there anything else you want to tell me that we didn't talk about? Regarding 47, 48?
Yes.
Okay.
No. As a 40-year reunion, which was 48,
88.
88.
Yeah, we were already living in Haifa. We were living in Haifa.
They had
And he'd gone back to the States.
that reunion,
Business.
and when the woman was the two young girls,
Yeah, you told me. You told me that.
I was very thrilled that all of a sudden occurred, hit me with a tremendous sense of pride that I not only saved people, but I've saved generations.
How does that make you feel?
Wonderful.
Good.
Those two little girls, one grabbed my one thigh and the other grabbed the other thigh. I bent down, I picked them up, and we kissed each other. Very touching.
Okay.
Good rap, right?
Good rap.
It's
Bucky,
interesting about those ships, though, because
How did you find it? How many?
we've interviewed a few hundred.
Wow.
that's amazing.
Okay.
I don't know if this is good enough to take a picture of.
Made some money.
Really?
To get it published.
Good. Good. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. What else do we have? What's
This
that?
is
He never got into his medical career.
well, he's
Well,
only
that-
doing them.
I'm only doing it about.
You
Machal.
understand, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get?
Habonim camp.
Yeah.